Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Catching Up with the Nerds with me, Tom, your host. And today I'm joined for another interview by Stan, who is from Dads With Gamepads. Stan, how are you?
Well, thanks for the introduction. I'm fine, and I believe we're looking to spend an hour having fun and discussing the video games and kids with video games. So.
Exactly. Being a dad or parent in the era of video games. So Stan is joining us because, like most of our listeners, I think we are parents, and sometimes we like to, introduce our kids to our love for nerdy stuff. And I think Stan is mostly a video gamer, so pretty much like me. So today we thought we'll come, have him in. We'll have him join us and discuss a little bit about his life and how he's handling things with twins, right? You said you had twins, 6-year-old twins.
Yep, a boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl. There you go. So Stan, well, there you go. Now, how about we just jump right into it and introduce yourself to everyone who's listening and tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and as much as you want to go in details. Yeah. Go for it.
Yep, sure. So hi everyone, whoever is listening to us though right now. I'm 40 years old and I work for the multinational company. I'm head of IT. So I'm, well, whatever angle you look at me, I'm a nerd. So I've been within IT for 20 plus years, but I've been gaming my whole life. I mean, I believe it started for me at the age of 5, and I'm gaming still. My kids are gaming. So we have a long-lasting relationships with gaming. And I've been growing as a professional throughout the years, I hope. And I've been growing as a gamer, again, I hope. I've been through all the major projects there are, like the Diablo games, the World of Warcraft, all the famous MMORPG that you have. I mean, you name it, I played it. And of course, when I had kids, the amount of time I could spend for the gaming drastically decreased. But I still, whenever I have the chance, even now, what I do is I launch the game I love, something old or something new, and I enjoy it because time changes you and the age changes you, of course. Yeah. But for me, gaming is one of the fundamentals that I have, and then I will have. So it helps me stabilize both myself and my family because when you do boil up some emotions when you speak with your family. I mean, whether you want it or not. And sometimes you can, release these emotions in not really a pleasant way. And gaming helps you not only to distract yourself from the real world, but also, how to say,
think about something else.
Yeah.
It's like a release. It's like a release of sometimes. It's it's like therapy, right? Sometimes you don't know how to handle things, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna relax, so I'm gonna do something that can allow me to think about something else than real life and problems. Bang, you play video games.
Exactly. Yeah, and coming up to the therapy, looking at the prices at the AA games that are currently on the market. I mean, it costs exactly as the therapy costs. So it's a good comparison.
And actually, you know what? I never had anybody said that before. It's like, because usually you go for therapy like an hour or two, but then it's very expensive. So, sometimes you can think you pay whatever, how much it is right now, those games on PS5 or Xbox Series X. Actually, it might be cheaper than going to see a therapist, but hey. For those who don't know, you're based in Russia, right?
Yeah, I'm based in Russia. I was born in Moscow. I was living my whole life in Moscow. I mean, I've been traveling a lot, and I mean, seriously, a lot, both for my own purposes, personal purposes, and on the company's behalf. And I believe I've been to like 24, 25 countries and still counting. So, and also, to be honest, gaming helped me be more international than I used to be. And I believe I have a couple of stories to share on my, virtual experience turning into real life experience. And I believe we will get to it. So
we'll get to that. Also, it's cool. Yeah, it's funny. It's also the same thing for me because, like I've met, especially when the internet became a thing and you started, like you said, like playing Diablo, I guess Diablo 2. Maybe it was a big thing for you, but like I remember playing on PC. I think when I was the end of the 90s, early 2000, when you started having internet at home, and you have having access to those MMO games, and you used to meet people from all over the world. And this is where, yeah, it's the same for me. Like suddenly you become you start meeting these guys from the US, somebody from the UK, somebody else from Russia. Like it's funny how suddenly a game can open up so many doors and so many frontiers that you wouldn't think. Like I started getting not emails, but like private messages in those games from people from all around the world. It's quite funny. It becomes, you think that you'd be stuck in your bedroom playing a game alone, but suddenly you open up this world of hundreds of thousands, millions of people that are just there sharing the same passion with you, but in totally different countries. And that's amazing, I think. And it's not usually highlighted by many.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though there is a lot of toxicity right now, I still believe that communicating in the gaming world brings a lot of positive vibes. And funny thing is that plenty of people who play games, they actually kind of funny in a good way. I mean, the communication itself, when you find somebody online and you befriend him, you send a friend request, he replies, you join on Discord or whatever, it helps you, bring more positive vibes into your life, because usually you meet during some kind of game, you have common objectives, you want to achieve, you want to level up, so you feel the support, even if the guy is not online, he's there, and he will be online, and you spend a couple of hours playing together, having fun. It's like grabbing a beer at the bar with a guy
exactly.
But virtually. So for me, it's a comfort zone, the gaming itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
no, I agree. It's like there's a lot of activities maybe that it's maybe not as direct social aspects of it. It's like when you say like you meet somebody at the bar, it's in a physical way, but like doing this over a computer it's a different way of socializing, and I think maybe that's what some people don't really understand. But some people that are not really good with being in a crowd or being in with a place with a lot of people, physically there with a lot of people, I'm sure there's a lot of people that kids that are online that were very shy or socially awkward, I think that's the word, that have met others like them online, and that really opened up some friendships and different things that were outcoming from that. And I think that's a great way of spending your time, and hopefully it helped people.
Yeah. And again, people meet people all over the world, and you're not limited by the local bar.
Exactly.
When you go there, you meet only locals, and if you go online, you can reach every country you want. Even if you haven't been there, you can say, "Oh, I have a couple of guys, I don't know, in Scotland, or I don't know, in Argentina, or in Russia." I know you never been to Russia, but you get in touch with Russia by playing the guys.
The thing is, there's something I want to change one day, is like I would like to meet up with a bunch of people I've befriended online, but the thing is, because now it's slightly more difficult with kids, but do you know what I mean? Like, let's say I play against somebody who is like like you in Russia, or somebody that lives in the US, and then eventually one day you do meet in real life. I think that's pretty awesome. I've seen people on for example on YouTube making videos of themselves finally meeting with somebody they've met online, and usually those stories are quite funny because they are long-lasting relationships, long-lasting friendships.
I have a story just for you in this case.
Go on.
I've been playing FIFA since 1994, I guess. Even earlier, I had a FIFA International Soccer on the Sega Genesis.
Yes.
This is when the whole thing started. When you can run away from the referee, he's trying to show you the yellow card, you just run around the pitch.
Right?
1994. Yeah. Then I switched to PC. Then I switched to Pro Evolution Soccer for a couple of years, and I went back, and then I bought PS3, and I think it was the FIFA 08, the first title that I had. Okay. And starting from FIFA 09, we created an international club. There was finally the Pro Clubs mode introduced. And starting from 2009 and up till I believe it was 2016 or 17. I don't even remember right now. We managed an international club together with a guy from Sweden.
Oh, great.
And we actually we made it pretty good. We at some point we were top 100 clubs based on EA Sports website. So it's kind of nice. We were participating in the tournaments, winning some, losing some, and so on and so on. And we had kind of really nice team itself. I mean, plenty of personalities from I think it was like 10 or 11 countries. We had a couple of guys from US who never made it because of the time difference, but still tried to. And it was really, really fun. And throughout this club managing, we, I basically got a new friend from Sweden. And at some point I decided, look, I mean, we've been talking for like 5-6 years. Let's hook up in the real life. And this is exactly what I did. I just booked the tickets to Stockholm, and I've been there. And after that, I've been there 3 more times. And we are now just, friends. Our families know each other. So I would say we've been knowing each other for 10 years, already even more. I think it's like 14 years. Yeah. And we, everything started through the FIFA, through the online gaming, through the communication, through the day-to-day activities. I was looking forward to play with the guys. I was looking forward to meet the guy, So again, comfort zone, positive emotions. This is what I believe what gaming is all about.
No, I agree with you. The thing is, sometimes there's a bit of that, that connotation with gaming. It's like it's all about trolling, and it's all about, kids calling the police on other kids was playing Call of Duty and stuff like that. I'm like, come on, there's a lot of good stories everywhere, of people actually becoming real friends and becoming really close thanks to video games, or going through a hard time and coming out of it because of video games. It's not all because you've seen a couple examples online on the news that somebody was being nasty to somebody else. I do believe also, I agree with you that there's a lot of good that can come from video game.
Sure. And I believe one of the biggest one of the major emotions that you get is the sense of an attachment that you get by joining the team or joining the clan or joining some small community that evolves around some game. You belong to this party, and you're looking forward to communicate with them, and you feel empowered by the people that surrounds you in this case. And again, I have another story. It's also related to the FIFA. And for example, when there was a huge migration from PS3 to PS4, some people could afford that. Some gamers couldn't, right?
Of course.
And for example, we had, I think at that point, we had like 20 people in the club. And one of the guys couldn't migrate to PS4 due to, money limitations. He was a student. He didn't have enough money. So what we did is everybody pitched in for a few euros. And we sent it to the guy. He bought PS4. He stayed with the club. And he was so happy. Awesome. It was just, eventually we decided, look, let's make this guy, keep belong to the club, and let's make a gift for him. Then we discussed, behind his back, but this was a surprise. So we just pitched in, and he was so happy. And, I think this is one of the,
That's a good idea. I mean, if it's unexpected, and it's like, if he wasn't asking, like begging for it, like,
no.
No, that's great. No, that's a great quality to have. If you can make somebody else's dream, I don't know if it's a dream, but actually if you can make sure that he can keep, staying
let's be honest,
and be on there, it's really cool. That's really cool.
Let's be honest. Whenever a new console comes out, it's always a dream for everyone. Not for everyone, but for the majority of the people, right?
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to PS5, which is still short and out of stock.
The PS5 side, because you mentioned before we started recording that you also you own a PS5, but a bit like mine, it's gathering dust right now because there's not that many games. But that's not the point. How was your story with getting a PS5? Because mine was very straightforward. Mine was like, I went online one day, I ordered mine, and it got delivered on the date of release. So all the drama I was seeing online, I was like, people are very unlucky. Like mine was like the most boring story about ordering a PlayStation. I've seen other people going, I had mine in my basket or in my cart or whatever you want to call it, and it just disappeared. I was like, man. So was ordering yours the same story, or was it as uneventful as mine?
Yeah, I think my story can beat your story to the when it comes to the boredom, because I just pre-ordered the PlayStation. I got a notification that it has arrived to the warehouse, and I can just take it. And I took it, and I put it on my desk, and I started to enjoy. I mean, there were like literally a few games around available. I bought a couple just to test the capabilities of PS5. I didn't like the games. One of them was the Godfall, and didn't really like it. I mean, it was really nice, and I thought, okay, whenever it comes to the PlayStation, the launch up is usually in terms of titles. I mean, a couple of good games.
It always
and
is.
I was like, I don't know, am I happy with that or not? But then I got a Sackboy, and suddenly the PS5, we played through the game with my daughter, and I was blown away by the quality of the game, by the PS5 itself, by the PS5 experience itself. So I was really, really impressed.
It was like to me, it was like Christmas. Like you opened the present, when the guy came to deliver, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. But yeah, before we go back into today's gaming, I just want to go back quickly into how you got into gaming, because we talk about who you are. And I always like asking that question, to the people we interview, is how did you get into video games? Like, what was your first console? What was the first game you remember playing? This sort of thing. So, if you want to go back into your memory and see if you can remember where you started.
Yeah, I believe it started when I might be mistaken, but I think it was 5, and it was even before the consoles hit the Russian market. The Spectrum ZX should sound familiar to you.
Of course.
So this is basically one of the first windows into the gaming that I got, and I didn't have it myself. My neighbor, who lived in the same house, had it. So at some point, I become the most frequent guest he has in the history of his relations with anyone. And we've been playing together. And the game, in order to load the game, you need to put the cassette into the recorder. You launch
the cassette tape, and then you have to put all the codes and everything. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. You wait for it to load. Maybe it will load, maybe it won't, and then you'll launch the game, and you're like, wow. I'm looking at the screenshots of the games right now.
Yeah,
it looks like a disaster, but at that point, it was magic to me.
then
there was arcades.
Before you continue, the funny thing is that this is why I'm laughing nowadays with, like, when I see people complaining about loading time. And it's like, wow, you had to wait an entire 45 seconds for your game to start. I'm like, you don't understand growing up. Like, and I'm the same than you. I think I can't remember what my first actual console was the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. But before that, here. I had like you had the Spectrum, and I was like, you guys don't understand. Like, I used to enter all the commands like line by line, and then it would take 25 minutes to load a game that looks like bricks moving around. And then sometimes it would just not start, and you have to start all over again. And like, you can wait 45 seconds. You'll be okay.
Scroll Twitter feed, and then you'll be good.
Exactly.
At that point, 20-25 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you can cook lunch. I didn't lunch until while it's loading. So, then from Spectrum, I switched to, as you said, Nintendo Entertainment System, and I had a bunch of games. And
do you remember what your first game was on that?
I think it was Contra. I might be mistaken, but I think my first game was Contra. And then there was the... now I'm trying to remember stuff I didn't think
surely
about
you
for
had
like
a Mario,
15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Mario was everywhere. Then there was Ice Climber.
Yeah.
The Double Dragon.
Double Dragon, yeah. I had that too. Yeah, that was awesome. It's funny because and it's probably the same with you, but like when you remember those games in your memory, it's like, oh my God, this was great graphics and everything. But then when you look at them on YouTube, or like, if you have them again, like I do on an NES, and you plug them in and you look at it, you're like, oh God, the graphics are not. It looks so old now.
And the Duck Hunt.
Yes.
that was the reason people will come to your house and say, "Oh, can I try?" I mean, people
Try the gun.
just, how do you shoot at the TV and it reacts? What's going on? What kind of dark magic is it?
Yeah.
So it is really fun.
Magical. Yeah, and I remember I
Yeah.
had Duck Hunt as well. I remember the first couple of times I played, I was like, oh my God, what's happening to my TV? Like why am I not breaking it? But no, it's just technology.
Yeah, but to be honest,
mhm.
I believe that the games that affect me the most during the NES area, I think it was the DuckTales,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because it has so blessing soundtrack and the gameplay itself, and then there was the remaster.
I just
And the
bought the
second
other
game
day,
was
literally bought the
sure.
other day the remastered on my PlayStation just for fun. I was like, I'm gonna get it. There's like a DuckTale remaster on PS3, I think.
Yep.
And then there's
No, I think it was PS4.
or PS4, but
no,
I think there's the Afternoon Collection, which is the actual games that were on the Nintendo. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I remember, to be honest.
Yeah. So what did you move on from, like after the NES? What did you get?
My parents presented me the Sega Genesis, and this is, I think, this was the period when I became a true gamer, because it was an absolutely different experience with the Mortal Kombat available and the Sonic franchise, and I was blown away by the quality of the not even the graphics, but the atmosphere that it gave you, because stepping up from NES to Sega Genesis was like a major quantum leap from in terms of experience. And I also think that it shaped myself as a person as well, because one of the best memories I have from my childhood is me playing the Sega Genesis in my parents' room on the big screen during the August, when when there is no one around. The absolute freedom that you get when you're playing. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't really have enough. You don't have much obligations, to the world. You just exist, and you're being fed, you're being dressed.
It's all about
you
yourself.
just have all the time in the world, right? And I was spending all this time in gaming.
You know why I was laughing? It's because literally it sounds like your gaming upbringings and your gaming experience is literally the same than mine. Literally the same than mine, because you say you're 40, right?
Yeah.
So I just turned 40 also, and so we grew up at literally the same period of time. And my first console was like you, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then I moved on to that. From that to the what you call the Genesis, but I think for us in Western Europe it was the Mega Drive. And literally this is when because I like playing the NES, but like when I became a true gamer was on the Mega Drive. And it literally everything you just said, it was literally my experience and how I felt with it. Like summertime, when you're away from school, I would spend my month of, like, again, same to me. The one of my favorite memory of growing up was my parents were very nice enough to buy me not even a TV but a monitor, a PC monitor from like, it was like 93 or 92, something like that, 1993, 1992. I can't remember when it was. 1994, something around that time. And they were nice enough to buy that for me and leave it in my bedroom. So I had the Mega Drive hooked up to my TV in my bedroom. And I would spend the entire month of August and maybe July also playing video games, like playing FIFA 94, like you say, playing Sonic 1, 2, and 3, Streets of Rage, all the
Streets
classics.
Of Rage. Oh.
Yeah. So like even to this day now, when I play Streets of Rage on my Mega Drive Mini or just on the actual console, like it takes me back to that time. And it's crazy. Like, it takes me back to this hot summer in August with all the windows open and the hot air coming in, and me drinking, ice water because it's boiling hot. So yeah, it's funny. So we basically have the same upbringing almost.
That just proves the point that most of the gamers are just alike.
Exactly.
I mean, well, I was explaining myself and I was trying to remember, and the only good things came up to my mind, and the same goes with you. And this is my main point, that again, there is plenty of toxicity in the online gaming, but I think the positive emotions and the positive experience that you get is much more, much more viable, much more,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So on the Mega Drive, what else were you playing on there?
Well, Mortal Kombat, of course, and Mega Drive is also gay. Yes. You say potato, I say potato. Still,
yeah, same stuff.
I believe Mortal Kombat 3 was the ultimate MK3 for me. It took the majority of my life with Sega Mega Drive. Yeah. There were tournaments. People were just playing. Everyone was playing that, and it wasn't a question of whether you were playing it or not. It was a question of how good are you. I mean, at least for us in Moscow, this game was a blast, and everybody was playing in school Mortal Kombat 3.
I remember when that was out. Yeah, I remember that when that was out, there was like everybody was playing Mortal Kombat, and there was always the thing like, oh, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. But then at one point, Mortal Kombat was literally the hot game that everybody had and was playing.
Yeah.
What else were you playing at that time? Also, anything else?
Well, Streets of Rage, of course. I mean, you cannot have Sega and do not play Streets of Rage series. Then there was Sonic 3.
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous game.
Yeah,
and still it aged quite well. I mean,
they all do. The 16 bits game, I still think they hold up pretty well to me.
Yeah. What else? Gold Max.
Yes.
Unavoidable. Yes. Gunstar Heroes.
Yep. There's too many.
Just funny thing is that, I have a sister. She's 7 years younger than me. And I believe my first co-op experience was on Sega Genesis. Well, Mega Drive.
Yes.
There is a game, Tojim and Earl in Panic on Funkatron.
Yes. Yeah.
We've been playing together with my sister, and we completed the game. It's really huge. I mean, you have the passwords to progress through the levels, and we managed to complete the game. And I was so impressed by the capability of playing with someone, just sharing the screen, 2 joysticks, 2 gamepads that you have, and you just playing for the game. And we bonded with my sister, and we still play up to date.
Really?
She's traveling. Yeah, she's traveling a lot, but we stay in touch, and we play plenty of stuff together. I mean, she saw me growing up with the Counter-Strike, which we'll get to a bit later, and she's now one of the best Call of Duty players that I know. She's constantly called cheater because she has an enormous score, and I'm really proud because I was the one to open this door for her. So,
that's really cool.
Yeah, and it all started on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, whichever.
Nice. So moving on from that, what else did you jump into? Because my jump was I went from Mega Drive somehow to PC and then PlayStation 1, which is a weird evolution. But what was your next console of choice after that?
Yeah, funny thing is that I also split my gaming experience in 2. First one is finally a decent PC. You were capable of buying one and playing the games on it, because previously you can buy PC, but when it came to gaming, it was kind of bogus experience. But suddenly with Pentium processor, on the horizon, the games got more complicated. There's graphics suddenly on the table, and you get some decent games. The first Diablo, the Crusader, the Syndicate, all that stuff. And I just got hooked on the PC immediately. But since I was a console boy at the beginning, I bought myself PlayStation 1. And suddenly I was torn apart because, you have that amount of time and you want to play everything you have.
Yeah.
And you have to choose between the console or the PC. And it was a kind of tough time for me because, suddenly you have to track 2 streams, 2 flows of the games. You have to balance your time between the games. And this is, I think, when I grew up as a gamer. Because not only I played whatever I wanted to play, but I also have to balance myself as a gamer.
Yeah.
And you have to choose and so on and so on. So, adult choices, you might say.
Adult choices, exactly. Yeah, I think that again, similar experience where I discovered PC. I can't remember, one of my best friends was like that. was into PC gaming, and then he sort of explained to me how, well, you can upgrade stuff on your PC. You know, that was a completely weird, not those say subject, but a weird concept for me, that you could like, oh, your PC, you can open up the box and take one part out and take a better part in. And I was like, huh? That's not how you think something you can do on your Mega Drive, or you have one Mega Drive and that's it. Well, so I said that, the Mega Drive had the Mega CD and CD, the 32X and stuff like that, but that's something different again. The world of PCs is so different. Yep, go on.
No, what I'm saying is that eventually I switched from consoles to PC, mostly because of the upgrade system that is, available to you. I mean, you just change your graphic cards and suddenly you get much better graphics. It doesn't work the way with the consoles. You get what you get as a box, the hardware, and then you can just buy another game. You cannot enhance your experience with the console. I mean, some gadgets, like, I don't know, the guns, lightning guns, some fancy gamepads, but that's basically it. But when it comes to PC gaming, you not only, manage to, fine tune it the way you want it, but you also get a better experience when you do. I mean, upgrade your memory, there you go. Upgrade your hard drive, switch it from hard drive to SSD, there you go. Much better experience.
Exactly.
Finally getting your hands on 3090, which is not possible right now, but let's just imagine it's possible. You get a better experience, 4K monitors and all that stuff. So for me, PC was a richer experience, but I still kept the consoles for the exclusives.
True, because exclusive, especially with Sony as well. Like there's a lot of. I know we're jumping ahead, but like there's those exclusives on Sony, for example, are so good. It's almost a pity to miss them. And it's funny because it depends what type of person you are and how much money you're willing to spend also, right, between the PC and consoles. It's like, if you want an experience where you just put a disc or you put a cartridge into your console, you take your controller, that's it. You can play it directly. And I know with PC that I've spent a lot of time installing a game, and then suddenly you launch it and it says, well, it doesn't work because you don't have the right graphics card. You don't have and I was like, that's the one thing that made me go back to PC to console gaming over PC gaming is that exact problem, because I'm like, like she was talking about emotions, and you're talking about the experience that it brings you playing video games, and it's exactly that. I'm like, I want just to turn on the machine, put a CD, a DVD, a Blu-ray, or whatever it is, or a game that's already installed on the hard drive, press A or X, and then boom, it launches, and I can just play. That's it. I want to forget about the rest. And that was the thing with PC gaming. I'm like, there was always the one thing, like suddenly it crashes because it doesn't like, you don't have enough memory, or you've run into some trouble. It's like this is the one thing that got me out of PC gaming, is this sheer that just the possibility of something crashing or something going wrong. In my experience, was always high.
That's true. But on the other hand, it gave you a sense of the control of what's happening, because when you turn on the game on your console, you don't have any options aside from the brightness and volume level. But when you turn a PC on, you launch the game, you have like, I don't know, 15 to 30 options that you can change, and then you change one option in the graphic settings, and suddenly your game feels much smoother, getting you like, I don't know, 15 to 20 FPS boost, and you think like, I have cheated the system. Now you work the way I want it, not the way you are programmed by the designer. So it like, I don't know, fine tuning. It's like a constructor. So aside from the gaming experience, you get an ability to control the environment that you launch your game in. And for me, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it depends how inquisitive you are. It depends how much you're okay with playing around with the system. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like, I think to me, it's more a question of how lazy I become when it goes to video games, right? When it's related to video games, like, I just want something that works right away. But I understand also the appeal to playing PC gaming, because it's like, you know what, I can change everything. I can change the way the game looks, the game feels, the game runs. And that's a great thing too. But it depends how much time you want to give it to. Yeah.
But also there is one aspect that we should mention, and I don't really want to start a holy war, but in general, again, the graphics on PC is better than on any other console.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and for me, the visual experience that I get from the PC gaming is a bit richer than you get from the consoles. I mean, aside from the exclusive, that is, right? But if you take the same game on the console and on the PC, if it has not been ported from the console to the PC, then absolutely different experience. But again, we are jumping ahead of times, right?
I was going to say, so just briefly, because I think we're going on. Like, what's the after you went from PlayStation? Like, what did you get after that? Did you get any more consoles, or did you calm down for a while?
No. I've been, growing, and consoles has been, being released to the market, and I was, always buying basically most of them. So from PlayStation 1, I went to, to the PC gaming. Then I bought myself an Xbox. And to be honest, I bought the one with a chip because I didn't have that much money for the games. So I bought the cheap one. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're allowed to say about that, but I think I'm in Russia. It's okay.
It's fine. It's 20 years ago. It's okay.
Yeah. So I've been paying for the games much less. They were still on the CDs, but they would cost like, I don't know, $5 to $7 each.
Yeah.
And I've been playing for like, I think 3 to 5 months with an Xbox. But then I just realized that almost every good game that there was on the Xbox was still launched on the PC. So I thought, like, why bother? And I saw it. I bought myself PlayStation 2, and that was a mistake. Why? Because the graphics level at that point was much less than on the PC. And I bought it again for the exclusives, but I couldn't manage myself to play these pixelized environments, and I was like, okay. So I spent a couple of months with PlayStation 2. I sold it and went back to the PC gaming. Then it was PS3 with much better experience and much better, not much better. I shouldn't say that because there are plenty of people who love their PlayStation 2, but with great exclusives for the PlayStation 3. And then it was PS4, PS5 now. I had PSP, I had PS Vita. I was about to buy a Switch, but instead I bought myself One X Player, which is just released, basically a PC in disguise. Yeah. So I think I had around 10 consoles, and I was always trying to, upgrade my experience. Like I was traveling a lot, and I bought myself a PSP. And now you can have just a power bank, and it doesn't matter how long the flight takes, right?
Exactly.
But previously it was like your PSP and that's it. So either you buy an additional battery, or you come up with some kind of ideas. And during one of my trips to United States, I bought myself an extended battery for the PSP, and I was so happy to bring it back home. So I love the gadgets. Again, I'm an IT guy, and whatever new comes to the market, I evaluate the quality of it, and either I buy it or not. I've been really happy with my Nintendo Wii for a couple of years, even though it was way behind on the graphics and the quality of the games. But the experience was really fun, and we were playing with my family, bowling, tennis, all that stuff. So I will buy any console that is available as long as it's fun.
I'm surprised you haven't bought a Switch then, because I bought a Switch and it's actually a lot of fun.
You know why I didn't?
No.
I really love my PS Vita. I still have one.
Sure. Yeah, me too. I've got one. It's awesome. But
and then I was about to buy Switch. I took it, and the build quality, it was squeaky. The screen itself was kind of dim, and I was like, do I want to play games this way? I don't know. And suddenly I passed the Switch.
You can wait for the new Switch with the one with the OLED screen. That might help you with the brightness and the quality.
Yeah. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to buy it for my door.
Yes,
to avoid
exactly.
to avoid some comments.
That's a great great segue into the next part, which is talking about your kids and how they got into
Sure.
gaming. So I funny enough, so I'm like you. I've got two kids. I've got one daughter who is about to be 12, and my son who is 4.5, is about to be 5.
Cool.
So my daughter is like spending now, not every evening, but like now it's school holidays, but she's playing a lot of Minecraft on the PlayStation 5. So the PlayStation 5 now went to my daughter, apparently. She adopted it. But my son plays a lot of on the Switch, and he's playing the easy games, like Lego Jurassic Park and Lego Star Wars, and all these Lego games. I don't know if you've ever tried those with your kids.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure.
They're super simple, they're super easy, but they're a good way to introduce your kids into video games, right? Because the children don't really understand at the start, like how the controller works, how if I press one button, how that works. But they pick it up pretty quickly, but it takes, to me, I found that they take a little bit of time to go, okay, this is what I do, this is how this works. And I think that's what the question is, like, how did you introduce your kids to video games? Like, is there one thing you did, or were they just, did you put video games onto them? Did you push it? Or were they naturally attracted to it?
I didn't push it because, there is always a wife that says, okay, it's too soon. So I did it, let's just say I did it organically. I mean, I had a really good experience again playing with my sister, and I was playing the game. She was watching it. She was advising me to do stuff. Then she was trying it herself. So I applied the same approach to my kids. I mean, I specifically played the games that they were, really fun to look at, like, I don't know, Rayman Origins, for example. Really nice. For them, it was like a cartoon. And they got hooked up. But the funny thing is that my daughter plays much more video games than my son, which was kind of a surprise for me. I mean, he's also trying to get himself into gaming with my help, but he's focusing on the racing stuff, like Forza Horizon 4 or the Need for Speed. Yeah. But my daughter, again, I'm pretty happy with that. She plays whatever I offer her to play. And initially we have started with something simple. And I thought, it was PS4 when we started to play together. And I thought, okay, there will be an issue with the gamepad because, the hands are tiny. The gamepad is quite big. Yeah. And I found a couple of small gamepads for the PS4. But eventually my daughter said, no, I don't need this. And she found a way to manage the gamepad, the 2 sticks. She takes the gamepad in one hand and she works with the second stick with her palm, not with her finger, but with her palm. Okay. And it helps her. And eventually she, proud to say that at some games she is better than me. I mean,
this is the thing now. When you're usually, like, you always go, okay, I'll beat them easily, but then they become very good very quickly. And there's a couple of games my daughter's playing, and she's now become better than I am, and it's not a good feeling, when that happens. Like, I should be dominating you, but no, you're better than your dad,
Yeah,
that's
but again,
go on.
Sure. My approach is to take it easy. I mean, I don't force it. I mean, if it's interesting for them, we play it. If it's not, then it's not. Because I have a couple of examples that I think, I need to buy this game because it will be really, really fun for them. I buy the game. They're like, okay, what's next? I was like, okay, we do it the other way. Let's see what they're interested in, and then we'll buy the game. And this helped me a lot. I mean, do you want to play it? No. Okay. Do you want to play together? Yeah, let's do that. So you don't push them. I mean, the modern kids, they're really, really fast in terms of adapting themselves to environment. And when it comes to gadgets, they are geniuses. I mean, all these iPads and tablets. Yeah. So gaming is a part of the life, an unavoidable part of the life. And I believe our task as parents is to provide them with a safe environment, to make sure that they get only positive experience from the gaming and skip all this toxicity and some potential dangers.
What's your daughter playing right now? What's her main game at the moment?
She had a birthday 10 days ago, and one of the presents that I bought her is Minecraft Dungeons, and we've been playing these ever since.
Is that good?
That it's time. Yeah, it's an RPG for the kids, basically.
Okay.
It's not as scary. It's kind of simple.
I've seen it everywhere, and right now it's very, very cheap to buy. And I was like, because like I mentioned before, my daughter plays Minecraft. I was like, should I get that? Maybe that could be a good introduction to RPG. Because the reason why I like Minecraft is for her to be creative in a way. That you have to build. Like she loves being in the mode where you actually just build stuff, and she plays online with her friend, and they just build entire villages together, and then they have this little story that happens. They're in the little world. But I was like, oh, maybe dungeon could be a cool, nice idea to introduce, like RPG games, because she's not really there yet.
Yeah. It's a really good choice. I mean, it's simplified. I mean, if you play Diablo 3, of course, you'll say, okay, that's too simple. But for the kid who never played the RPGs and who doesn't understand the concept of the looting and leveling up and all that stuff, it's really, really nice. And the environment itself is safe, because some games they have like bosses and all that can be scary for the kids. But with Minecraft Dungeons, again, so far we're quite comfortable playing. You should. My daughter is 6 now, and we already have finished 6 games with her.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
that's very good.
Yeah.
That's actually a good achievement. I mean, I'm trying. The thing is, my daughter is pretty much stuck on Minecraft. Like every time she touches the well, she does play with my son. Sometimes they play like the easy games, again the Lego games together, and they're trying to. Oh, what was the one on the PS5 that you come stacking for? It's Astro Room.
No, the Sackboy. No. We played for the Sackboy, which was really, really nice. We played for the Rayman Legends, again on PS5 already. And I believe Rayman Legends is one of the best games that you could try playing with your kid. It's forgiving. Yeah, it's colorful. It's forgiving in terms of the gameplay, because your kid can just float around you if it's not happening.
Yeah.
And we played through the Little Big Planet 3 on PS4 before that. Yeah. So again, you can see that your kid likes the game or not immediately. If he or she hooked up, he's like, oh, can I try? Can we do this, do that? So emotions are flowing. But if you launch the game and it's like, Dad, can I have some snack, or can I have something to drink, or can we do anything else? Yeah. So you can just turn the game off and forget about
it. So obviously we talk about you and how you pass your passion to your kids. Like, I've got to ask before, but like how was it when you grew up? But like, I did mention with the relationship between you and your twin kids. You sort of introduced them to it, or you've the games have been around your house already, so they were sort of born into this, right? Like my kids. How was it when you grew up though? Because obviously it's a different era. Like gaming wasn't a massive thing, especially in Europe. It wasn't maybe as big in the 80s and 90s as it was in the US, maybe, and in Japan. Like how do you remember when you were playing games at home? Like, was it something that maybe your parents were looking at you like, oh no, you're spending too much time in front of TV? Like, how was that for you then growing up?
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. I mean, the most frequently asked question was like, why do you spend time on this? I mean, why do you sit in your room when there's a summer outside or friends around or whatever? Why are you looking at this screen? I mean, I do understand this is fun, but there is a real world around you. Go explore it. And we didn't have conflicts with my parents on that. Eventually, when it was like 10 p.m., now you have all this save system, when you can easily save your game, turn it off, and go do your stuff and go back. But when it comes to Sega Mega Drive, it doesn't work like that, right? You just have to go for the game in one sitting. And once there was a situation when I was beaten, I think it was Ira the Acrobat. That is a game similar to Sonic. I spent like 6 or 7 hours throughout the day to reach to the final level. And then suddenly 10 p.m. and my dad enters the room and says like, look, it's 10 p.m. You have to go to sleep. And he just shuts down the second Mega
And you're
Drive.
like, no.
Yeah, that's what I was like, no way, oh my God, we have to do it again.
What have you done?
He's like, time to go to sleep. And that was it.
Damn it.
So yeah, exactly. Like, and they were not against that. They didn't play the games with me. And
yeah,
luckily I had a sister, so I need a sidekick, and she was there all the time. But when it came to parents, they thought it was just a waste of time, a colorful, cartoonish waste of time. And I don't think I played more, just to prove my point that it's also develops me as a personality. But I decided that my kids will grow in a different environment, and this is exactly what is happening. I understand the gaming is inevitable, whether they want it or not. Gaming will be here for as long as we will live on this planet, I believe.
Yes.
And the more kids entering this gaming at a really young age, like two years, 3 years, even 1 year, they get the tablet, they get the iPad, some simple games of math or dragging some objects here and there. So the gaming is there. And I thought then, rather than to fight it, I have to help my kids, grow in a safe gaming environment. And this is exactly what I'm doing.
It's compared to it's compared to what the thing is, and it took me a while to realize this, that it's true for our parents' generation, right? That they didn't have an understanding of it, or for them it may have been looking stupid because it's something new. It's something that they don't quite understand. Like for us, it's a very different approach, and it's a very different understanding of it. That is like, look, it's gonna be around us. Doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna be there. So I think it's nice to start early on getting them to understand what it means to be gaming and what it means to be gaming online, especially. You have to take measures to be safe and to understand why people are doing and saying those weird things, that may be insults or whatever. So yeah, at least what our generation does is preparing our kids for that. We were growing up, like obviously there wasn't online gaming as a 10-year-old, right? For us, that wasn't a thing. But still, it was a different world. There was a lot of games that were maybe violent. If you look back at those games that we're playing, like you say, Mortal Kombat.
Well, yeah.
If now you tell me like, oh look, your daughter who is 12 is going to play Mortal Kombat, and I'll be like, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But at my age, when I was 12, I had Mortal Kombat 1 or 2. I can't remember which one it was. I was like, yeah, cool. And I remember I was like, I don't know if I should be playing this. I don't know if me ripping the head of my opponent is a good thing. Or
at least not to show it to the parents, right? Because
exactly, keep it quiet.
This should be a no-go. You know what? I think for our parents, the gaming was not that big part of the life, right? And
of course,
for example, if you want to make your kid proud that days, right? You go to, I don't know, the football pitch or hockey or whatever else.
Yeah, sports.
And, you can see that your dad kicks ass in some kind of sports.
Yeah.
Now you can do the same in gaming. I mean, I had a couple of experience when there was like kids around and they're trying to beat some kind of level or something, and I just take the gamepad and go through it, and my door is like, this is my dad. No, look what he can do. So it helps you bond with your kid, and you lead them by example, because if you ever played the co-op game with your kid, you have to have a lot of patience, and I mean like a lot of patience.
Of course.
And this also helps you become a better person as well. Yeah, of course you will lash out at some point, because it's not possible to answer 50,000 questions per minute and try to play through the game. And also try to say to your wife that, okay, I will throw away the garbage, like give me 15 minutes, just a sec. And then you answer the questions and still playing the game. At some point, you just, like a kettle full of steam, you just boil.
Yeah.
But you grow with your kid, and you can see the kid is growing. I mean, he or she is getting better and better with the skills, with the game. and you understand that this is you, in these skills as well. So I see plenty of the benefits in gaming, and I really think that should my dad play the games with me when I was young, we've bonded more. I mean, we do have a really strong bond now, but it could be even better should he play games. So
I agree.
Kind of missed opportunity. Yeah.
But I think we're the same. I think it's funny because my mom was the one buying me like either the console or the games. And I remember like, what was it? I would have my dad coming into my room and be like, why are you playing? You know, instead of, and it's funny because like a couple of his friends that were the same age than him, like they would come, you know, over the weekend for lunch or whatever. And I'd be in my bedroom playing, and then their friend would come up and look at me and like, hey, that's a cool game. What are you playing? Like, I was like, so you see, it's not, I'm not lame, you know. It's just I wish somebody from my family. Like, unfortunately, I didn't have the same than you. Like, I have one brother who's older than me, but he never really showed interest in gaming. So all those gaming sessions were by myself, you know. There's nobody to go up and finish those games with. But that's okay. I've found other ways to do the game. Where are we? Yeah, we're about an hour in. Unfortunately, I could still talk to you for another 2 or 3 hours, but we're trying to keep those episodes under an hour.
Yeah, sure. We have a lot of nostalgic points to discuss, but maybe next time.
we can do a next part. You know, we can carry on.
Yeah, absolutely.
On another episode. Just to finish this off, though. You've pretty much had the same console that I did. What's your top 3 favorite consoles? Like go from the third all the way to the first one. What's your number 3?
That's a tricky question. I mean, it's a really tough choice, but I'll go with PSP because it brought me the first mobile experience with Sony games.
Yes,
it was like the experience that you cannot forget. I mean, PS Vita was way better, but it was my second mobile console. But the first one was PSP, and I was really happy with it.
I think the PSP is the first time I remember getting it also, and I was like, the first time I played that was what. You can play those games in your hands. Like, I don't have to be. That was mind blowing to me. Yeah, I understand why you've got it in the top 3. That makes sense.
Yep. Second one is definitely Sega Mega Drive. Absolutely gorgeous console. At that point, there was a competition between SNES and Sega Mega Drive, and I was in the Sega Mega Drive on the Sega side, and I was kind of proud because plenty of people in my how we call it, block of flats, the house, let's say. They had the SNES consoles, but I had the Sega Mega Drive, and I was really proud of that fact.
I can understand.
So many experience, so many memories attached to that. So number 2, and the first one, it's really tough choice because I do love my PS5. This is the first console that brings me the aesthetic pleasure of just looking at it. It's really good looking. It's really nice. Yeah. It's really fancy, I would say. But I believe I will go with PS4 because like 10 years of the life cycle of that console, and so many good games on that, and definitely the FIFA, which was on PS4. So I'll go with that. But it's tough choice between PS4 and PS5. Yeah.
Okay, well, no, that's funny. I think the PS4 it's funny. There's not that many people that say it, but to me, it's one of the greatest console. Like the amount of games that were really good on it, that are amazing and exclusive to it. Like I think because the PS5 just came out as well, so people are not looking back yet on the PS4 saying, "Oh, this is an old console." Now there's still plenty of people that own it and play it on a daily basis, but the amount of games on that console is just absolutely crazy, and the amount of good games, not only good games, great games. It's very hard for me to do a top 10 of the best games on PS4. It's very, very hard to me because
you'll spend another hour on it.
Oh yeah, that's another episode in itself. Like, and actually, I've got a plan of doing that, like a top 10 or top 15 PS4 games, because it's just too good. It's just too good, and there's a lot to discuss, and there's a lot of different angles. But bloody hell, that console is really good.
Good luck with that, I think.
Let's finish off on this. Top 3 games. That's a hard one also.
That's the hardest one, I think.
Can be any consoles, can be on PC also, can be anything. Like so and by top three, I don't mean top three you think that, you know, like regarded as the best video games, like top three for you because there's emotional attachment, right? Some games mean something to you because of the time you were playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I have my category of top three games, and people look at me like, huh? But no, it's because of the circumstances I was playing those games. Anyway, go for it.
Exactly.
What's the top three?
I think number 3 will be Mortal Kombat 3 because this was the time when I was growing up between the school and the high school, and I was so engaged in this game, and I was in the tournaments, and I've been playing around the yard with that. I've been kicking ass with my friends, and it was really, really fun. So I wouldn't say I was a star back then, but I mean I was in top 5 of in the city, so it was really nice.
It's
you cannot forget such memories.
No, you don't.
Number 2, I believe, will be Sonic 3 because I still play it to date, and again, all this summer freedom is definitely a Sonic 3 for me. So whenever I remember August, I remember Sonic 3 and vice versa. So the game is just I can have a tattoo of the game, I believe.
Oh really?
I won, but
you won one.
Potentially I could have, yeah. And another game that affected me a lot, and again, there are plenty of games like Counter-Strike was an age for me. I mean, like 5 years wasted on that game. And I have plenty of examples. I mean, I have plenty of experience, but I believe the game that affected me the most was Spec Ops the Line.
Oh,
it's
really?
an FPS game, from Saber Interactive. And I mean, it's just an FPS game. It's really fun to play, but the story behind the game, it just blows your mind.
That's the one that came out on PS3 and 360 and well, Windows and Mac also. Yeah, that's the PlayStation 3 one, right?
Yeah, I played it on the PC. Yeah. Spec Ops the Line, again, it's not your usual Spec Ops because previous it was like tactical shooters and such.
Yes.
This was more like of an arcade, the third person shooter. And again, the gameplay is, I don't know, 4 out of 5 maybe. But again, the story behind it, I still remember it to date. I even have an oil painting above my gaming PC with the main menu.
Don't say anything because I did start playing it like 2 or 3 months ago. So I'm nowhere near the end, but I really like the story. So don't spoil.
No, I'm not going to spoil it. What I'm saying is that I have an oil painting of the main menu of the Spec Ops Line hanging above my PC right now. Yeah, I was so impressed by the game. So. Not the usual choice.
it's you're the first person I put it on top of the top 3, but you're not the first person I know that actually really, really like this game. Like it's one of the. It's funny because I think it's one of those games that people are like, it's not talked nearly enough for how good it is. I think, and in terms of storyline, I think there's a lot of people that always put their the storyline is everything in gaming to me. If it's a good story game, even if the gameplay is a bit weird or there's something weird with it, like if the story is awesome, then I can forgive a lot. And that's what it is with I was gonna say Tech Ops, with the Spec Ops the Line. Is that like literally the story to me right now is so good that I had to stop it for a reason, but I need to go back into it. So that's what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah. Because you will have plenty of surprises there. To be honest, I chose between Spec Ops the Line and FIFA, but FIFA is more like a life experience for me. The game itself has not been evolving for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So I couldn't put it on number 1. But again, the experience it gave me, general experience, it's 10 years of my life.
Exactly. So that's why, again, when people are like, and I understand like you should put FIFA at number 1, people will go like, what? You're not saying the major obvious ones, but again, it's all about the emotion. I think that's what you've been saying from the start of this. Is that
it's all about the teammates. Yeah.
It's all about who you're playing with. It's all about the emotion that you brought into your life at that very given moment. And I think it's still not really got into people's head, but like when you talk about music, for example, or a movie or a painting, and it's like the emotions that you link up, like for example for me there'll be some music or an album or a group or a singer that I'll be like listening to one song and it'll take you back to that very moment you listened to it and that was a meaningful moment to you, right?
Yeah.
But to you, if you listen to the same song, you go like, oh, this is garbage. It's horrible. It's the worst song of all time. But it's funny because in video games, it's still not linked. There's still not that links being done. And that's something that I've been talking a lot. Like there's one game on PlayStation 1 that I've been playing with my best friend at the time. What's the game? Medieval. Don't know if you ever play Medieval.
Yeah, I know. Of course I know Medieval.
And like some people are like, wait, it's an average game. It's okay. It's not the best game. But for me, like when I hear the music, when I see the gameplay, I'm like, wow, it takes me back to those, again, summer times when I was inviting my friend over and we plugged, like he had the PlayStation 1 before me. So he will take his PlayStation with him, plug it in, and we play together for like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in the afternoon, eating cake.
Okay.
But so, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
absolutely.
There's a lot of people that don't make that connection between the emotion that it brings you and a video game. I still think it's not really being discussed much.
Yeah. So I believe we can summarize this by saying that gaming gives you memory that you drag with you throughout your life.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you get the experience, you remember it for a long, long time, and trying to repeat the experience either yourself or with your kids.
Yeah.
And to summarize on the kids gaming, for me, one of the great benefits, aside from the bonding and the fun and the experience that I get, is that I always have a teammate who is willing to play with me wherever I suggest it. So having a kid solves the problem, because usually there is a good game, you're trying to find somebody to play it with, but people are unavailable, they have their own lives, they're all flying, exactly. They're on the business trip. But when you say, hey kid, do you want to play? Yeah, I want to play. What game are we playing? Let's go.
Oh, by the way, if I have to suggest one game you can play with, actually on PS5 I think it is on, but on the Switch, whenever eventually you get your Switch, go and buy the game Moving Out. I don't know if you've ever played that
we
one.
have it on PC. We already played
it on PC.
And funny thing is that we're playing it together with a wife.
Yeah,
the game is so fun. Then we're playing with 4 players, my kids, myself, and my wife. And I've been a project manager for 20 years, but I cannot manage the Moving Out level by myself. I mean, it's an impossible challenge.
I've tried the same. I've tried the same with I'm trying. So me and my 2 kids are playing this. So we're like the 3 of us on the Switch. And it's like, so my daughter will if I say, go and get the TV from that room and bring it on truck now. Like, I'll do the TV first, then we'll move the sofa together. We'll move the bed together, and then you can go and pick up a few more boxes. And when she plays with me and my son, it's fine. Like we usually go through those levels. But like I try and play it just with my 4-year-old son. And he gets crazy. I don't know if you've seen those levels. There's like animals attacking you, like chickens and
frogs and all that stuff.
Yeah, frogs. And my son spends the whole time just trying to kick them or punch them in the face. I'm like, can you please help me remove that? I want to beat the game, please.
Yeah.
So it's funny, but like when I'm playing it, I'm like, come on. But then as I look at it and I think about it, it actually makes me laugh a lot, because I'm like, yeah, actually, that's quite funny that like he's spending his 45 minutes of us playing the game, and the guy is just trying to punch a chicken. I think that's just funny.
Whatever makes them happy. Whatever makes them happy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Let's wrap it up here, and then I think we'll have you back on at some point. We can do part 2 of this.
No problem. So long as our listeners will say, "Who is this guy? Why do I have to listen to this?" Oh,
no, that's not happening. Never ever. Do you want to maybe plug your YouTube channels or your social media? Is there anything you want to promote real quick?
To be honest, now is the summertime and I have plenty of chores around the house, and I've been not that much of an active on the channels, but Twitter is the way to go. I'm trying to keep up with the website, but to be honest, when it comes to Twitter, you just spend like 5 to 10 minutes to post something and you go. But when it comes to the website, you spend a couple of maybe 3 days to come up with something more fundamental. Yeah. So I believe Twitter is the way to go. Twitter is a way to communicate, and I believe I see you there.
So that's Dads with Gamepads. If you're looking for Stan, he'll be there answering your questions. Anyway, Well, thanks for joining, Stan. It was very enjoyable.
Thank you.
I think
thank you for the hosting.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one who had these experiences growing up. We shared a lot, and that's cool. And then we'll have you back on, I guess, at some point. I think that's it. I'm very bad at outro. Anyway, this was Catching Up with the Nerds. You guys can find us anywhere on social media as well. Twitter and Instagram is where we're the most active. Just look up Catching Up with the Nerds. We'll be there. And I think our YouTube channel is still there, but I don't know if people are really interested in YouTube these days. That's it. I think this is where we stop. Thank you again, Stan, for joining us, and we'll catch everybody in the next episodes. Bye.